Halloween
forever.
So I says to him, hey, Lama, how about a little something, for the effort? And he says, oh, there'll be no money, but on your deathbed, you'll have total consciousness. So I got that going for me, which is nice. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to another fucking Minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Ryan.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
I'm also the fucking champ, you guys. Taking it home 2 months in a row. And guys, I haven't gotten your feedback yet because I was dicking with my phone, but I assume you are filled with tidings of thanks for the movie that I introduced into your lives.
I hear the story that you're telling yourself, and I'm not with you.
Yep. Well, you are welcome, regardless of how you feel. Maybe it hasn't sunk into your soul yet, and you haven't gotten the real, true Buddhist message of this film, but maybe upon a third or fourth watch, you'll get to where you need to be and receive total enlightenment.
What is the Buddhist message of this film?
We'll get into it. Don't get ahead of ourselves. We'll get into it.
I'm like hella into Buddhism, and I didn't pick that up.
You can say, get really into it, then say, fuck all y'all and fuck Buddha, then it's still going to work out great in the end. I'm pretty sure that's the message. Well, we'll get into it a little bit further. Guys, if you didn't read the damn description of the episode, the movie we are going to talk about today is probably one that is new to many of you. This is a pretty obscure Hong Kong, I would say, supernatural, gross out horror, kung fu action film, maybe? I'm not sure. There's a lot going on. It's called The Boxer's Omen. And if you haven't seen it, we are going to spoil the hell out of it, but I'm going to say kind of in the same realm as Suburban Sasquatch. I think you could just start watching this at any point. You're going to be all right. And I'm not going to spoil it by telling you every single plot point because really the visuals are what you're going for on this one. And nothing I say could spoil it because I'm not going to be able to paint a picture nearly as eloquent as the masterminds that put a film of this caliber together. So it is free on the YouTubes, as are a tremendous amount of Shaw Brothers films, which is the studio that created this, which we'll talk about here in a sec. But before we get into The Boxer's Omen, we got a couple of orders of business to take care of. First of all, do people have beers in front of them, or just me?
I have his beers.
What kind of beers?
My beers is simply the New Glarus Wisconsin Belgian Red. I think I drank it before on the show, or somebody's drank it on the show before. So.
I think I have, yeah.
Yeah, not much to report back. It's still great.
Yeah, it's still good. Yeah.
It's a killer beer. Turns out, still good.
I snagged up some Inner Groove. I actually hadn't been out there in a long time, but I went out there this week. And since I'm finally on the downslope of this cold, I am like, yep, let's get fucked up on this one. I have their, what is it called? Hollerback pills. And it's fun. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Pilsner, 4.5%.
What's on the label there?
It's like basically two hands wearing, those ring word things.
Like
I don't even know what they
call it. Ring things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was hoping there was a Gwen Stefani reference of some sort, but it seems like they're cowards. That was the Hollaback Girl by Gwen Stefani was the ringer on my phone back when you like purchased ringers for your phone, back in the day.
I think what you're actually telling us is that the one that you used all the time. I think
did.
That's what you're telling us. Yeah.
For a long time, for like years, it was the ringer on my phone for some reason. In any case, I'm drinking a little. It's actually a beer. That's a style of beer that I have not really had a lot of. Meg, you just mentioned it's called Pills.
I never
This
heard of
is a
it.
German variation on this mysterious pill style. It's called Pikeland Pills. I don't know if you're familiar with it. No, this is a beer I drink all the time. Hashtag EMP, you guys. But it's a banger. I have a whole bunch of fresh Pikeland, so I'm just kind of been cranking through that shit pretty hard.
This show is now sponsored by Sly Fox because you work for them now.
Well, and I do, and also I have just unlimited free beer. Like, so when you get unlimited beer and it's good, then you end up drinking that instead of buying other things. Mm-hmm. Nothing too fancy there, but a tasty one. Cool. Let's do this real quick. Believe it or not. And this always surprises. I mean, we've been doing this for almost a year. It somehow still surprises me every time that the what we call the punishment episode also is the time in which we spin the wheel for the next topics for our next showdown. And somehow it sneaks up on me every single time. But let's do that first. For those of you who are new to this show, this is how this works. We have a showdown episode once a month. And that topic for that showdown episode is voted on by our social media friends and listeners. They get 3 choices. Those 3 choices come from a randomizer kind of spinning wheel on Steve's phone where we have amassed a whole shitload of topics for showdown episodes that have been suggested by you guys, by our social media friends and things like that. So we continually add to this list. We spin it. We get 3. We post it on the social medias. You guys help us pick which one it's going to be for that month. Once we have a topic, we each pick a movie. We discuss it on the Showdown episode. We argue about it. We throw atomic elbows. Somebody might end up in the Boston Crab. And then eventually we vote and someone reigns supreme. Now, your boy has brought it home 2 months in a row. So I'm in charge of the she took a very subtle objection to that, which I saw on her face. Do you care to dispute my championship reign right now? Is that what you're trying to do?
There's this thought that it's like, if you don't need to say it, just don't. And I don't think I need to say it right now.
Yeah, because that's typical Meg. When I think Meg, I think if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. She lives and dies by that. Yes, listen, I know the subtext here. I brought it home with a little film called Suburban Sasquatch, which is obviously better than the films that you guys, brought to the party, and you're a little embarrassed by that. But also last month, I did bring it home in a down and dirty, grimy showdown episode the month prior. So listen, go back and listen. I'm not gonna spoil it any further for you. The fact of the matter is, I picked this movie. And you seem so ungrateful. It's making me furious. We'll get into it here.
Meg is ungrateful.
She's so ungrateful. It's
Meg
pissing me off beyond belief.
I like it a lot.
So, but in any case, this is how it works. So, if you want to help us pick our showdown topic for the May showdown episode, you got to follow us on the social medias because we put it up on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is @HalloweenIsForever, and on Twitter is @HallowForever. But we also have Facebook, which is Halloween is Forever Podcast. We also have a little damn TikTok, which is @Halloween. It's Halloween Forever Pod. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Wow. Why am I still questioning that every single time I say it?
Because you haven't been on our TikTok.
Well, I actually did start a TikTok for Sly Fox.
I was curious who was doing that, so I was like, "Oh, is he dipping his toes?"
So I did spend about 3 hours just sweating and staring at TikToks the other night, not really sure how they work, and I did post several of them. They are in the ticks and the talks are out into the atmosphere to flourish. So I am getting better at the TikTok. I'm still terrified of it. There's not been a time where it has come over me that I feel like I need to do some sort of little dance or Macarena style shit while I lip sync, but it's probably going to happen sometime soon.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Give us a follow over there to help us vote, or just see some spooky ooky shit on the internet. It's also HalloweenIsForeverPod@gmail.com if you want to send us an email as well. Yes. So let's spin the fucking wheel. We have been very lucky.
We've been lucky, and I will say this needs to be good for me, so it can be good for the rest of you.
Oh my God!
It's been a while since I've won the belt.
That's true.
And the longer I go without winning the belt, the worse the punishment movie is.
Oh my God.
I
Steve's threatening us now. Oh my God.
He's
what
threatening the wheel in a way too.
I'm threatening the wheel. I'm
He's
threatening you guys. I'm threatening the audience to vote properly, just because.
Pretty soon you're going to start threatening Tubi, and then it's just full on sacrilegious, and then listen, all gloves are off.
Well, I think Tubi holds some of the ammo I have, but not probably the worst of it. Yeah. And I'm just saying, if I don't win in May, things are going to be really terrible from there on out.
Oh my God.
Really, truly awful.
Really, truly awful.
Yeah, we've had some good luck. The Bigfoot, even though I'm not typically a big Squatchaholic, I listened to on my way driving out to beautiful Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I listened to the 2-parter Bigfoot horror episode, and even though it's just listening to something that I already was present for the recording of, was very enjoyable, I thought. And then what was the one before that? Why am I forgetting what
it's
our
Old West horror?
March
Western. Yeah.
Oh,
Old
yes.
West horror. Yeah.
Old West horror. That was a fun
We
one.
more or less blocked it out. Like Meg couldn't remember it last episode.
Yeah.
Because Meg was trying to make the comparison between her film Gallow Walkers and Suburban Sasquatch, of how you could pick either up at any point, and just none of them make sense. So it doesn't matter when you start watching them.
Actually, Gallow Walkers was the only movie I liked that we talked about during that episode. Actually, we ended up going down and dirty rules on that one, which is basically worst movie wins, essentially. Right. Which always is an absolute shitstorm. So, all right, let's see what that damn wheel does for us this time around. See if it responds to Steve's threats.
It kind of did.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah. The first one we have is Best Friday the 13th.
Oh, that actually is, it's a little premature, but I like that in May. Usually May, the summer is when I'm thinking camp slashers. So I think that's pretty apropos. I like that. And you know what? Unless something else really, that one's going to have a hard time losing, I feel like.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it'll have a hard time losing. We'll see what else we get though.
All right, let's see. What's number 2 pick?
Number 2 pick is Nickelodeon horror.
Oh, goodness.
Or Nickelodeon Halloween, actually.
So that is a great episode, and I would love to do that one as well, and especially because May is pretty much the kickoff of spooky season in my mind. So I'm going to August is. It's the kickoff to the pre-kickoff of Halloween. So May, June, July, that's like pre-Halloween season. August, September, October is real Halloween season. Nickelodeon horror, or Nickelodeon Halloween, that's a good one as well. So decidedly different topics.
Very different. I don't know Nickelodeon Halloween is going to get it.
Well, you know what?
We'll see. I mean, it's the audience.
I'm going to lobby for, you want to lobby for Friday the 13th? I'll lobby for Nickelodeon Halloween. All right, what's 3? Steve's got a look on his face of just pure pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
He's just grinning from ear to ear. What is number 3?
Trauma.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That is a good 3. We've had 3 good sets of options the last couple of months. So it's just all trauma. The world of trauma. Traumaville, if you will. Okay.
Yeah, the wheel has decidedly leaned in my favor this month.
Yes. So if I thought Friday the 13th was going to be Steve's go-to, now I'm fairly confident trauma is the direction he wants to go. But the thing is, if we get trauma, are you going to pick Sergeant Kabuki Man, or is that going to be your punishment if you win?
Actually, neither.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Sergeant Kabuki Man, it's all right, but it's just, I don't know, it's definitely not bad enough for a punishment at this point.
It's been many years for me, so I might have to revisit that one if that one gets selected. But
don't get me wrong, it's bad, but it's not bad enough for what the two of you have earned. So,
oh my God,
good God Almighty, folks!
I understand. I feel the hate. Did you either of you guys chat or see or hear like Lloyd Kaufman get interviewed on last podcast? Because it was pretty fucking hilarious. Like he's so unapologetically like angry at like John Waters and about the industry. He's just hilarious, though. I just didn't expect that out of a very old man.
Oh yes, he's full of piss and vinegar. He always is. Yeah,
I think the only person he still likes is Mel Brooks, maybe.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, old Uncle Lloyd. He gets pissed off at just about everything, and he goes on just rants.
Yes, he has no problem talking shit about people.
Oh, he doesn't give a fuck. He did the same thing on the last drive-in too when he was on.
Okay.
Like, a couple seasons. It was a while ago. I want to say when they showed like Troma's War and something else. It was a good episode. It was the first time I ever saw Troma's War. But it was he does not give two shits. He's just full of piss and vinegar. But as a recap, we got 3 pretty fantastic topics there. I would be very happy to do all of these 3. Although Troma, I know plenty of Troma movies, but that's probably my least strong category there personally. In any case, Friday the 13th. Best Friday the 13th, Nickelodeon Halloween. So that would be any kind of Halloween specials or made for TV Halloween movies or something like that. Halloween episodes of Nickelodeon shows. And then of course, Troma films. So that is anything in the greater Troma verse, which we may have to establish that a little closer if that one wins, just like, cause there are plenty of things that are kind of Troma adjacent that aren't necessarily Troma proper, but we'll talk about that if and when that particular topic wins. So once again, follow us on the social medias, probably midweek this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. We'll get that up and get to voting so we can announce it on the next Minisode. And also I have to mention, because Steve sent this to us last night, and I was legitimately pissing my pants laughing, so much so that my wife, that Kate, thought there was something wrong with me. Steve designed a shirt that will go, I'll post about it tomorrow. Is it going up for sale on TeePublic tomorrow?
Well, if you're listening to episode on Monday.
It'll be today.
Yeah.
If you listen to this on Monday, which would be Monday the 11th of April, it will be up there and up there into perpetuity, because I have a feeling it's going to be the uniform of a generation, I would go as far as to say. I'm just going to describe it, and then you have to check it out to see. It is a mashup between the Tasmanian Devil and Garfield. So it's like Tasmanian Devil, but with Garfield's face and colors. Sunglasses on his forehead, and he is casually leaning with a very sly smirk on his face. He is leaning on the words, my balls are full of pee. just an absolute chef's kiss of a design. I was like literally having a coughing fit because I was fucking laughing at that when you sent it to me, because you just sent it with no context, just said new shirt Monday. Oh man, it tickled me. Check the old social medias for pictures and links to go buy that and all that. Actually, just go to our Instagram and click on the link tree, and you can go to merch, and it'll take you to our TeePublic store. And it'll be on sale, right? When you post one, isn't it like
when they
30% off for a while or something? Yeah,
for the first 3 days that it goes up on the store, it's on sale for 30% off. And then you can just check TeePublic whenever, because they have sales like every month.
Yeah. But go order that sumbitch, because I'm going to order, I think, 3 to 4 articles of clothing, perhaps some temporary tattoos, a flag for my front yard.
You can get stickers and all kinds of shit. Doesn't
Brian,
have to be
I need you to commit a little bit more, and I need you to get this actually tattooed on your body, okay? No more fucking around.
Imagine explaining that to somebody. Like, what? Why did you get this tattoo? Why is this your full back piece? I don't know.
I think it would be better if you just didn't. You just said at the bottom, it said in parentheses, don't ask questions.
It is what it is.
It's Brian's Yakuza tattoo. It's like surrounded by like lilies and like dragons and koi fish.
Oh, it's like a Russian. Yeah, I have like the stars on my shoulders on the front, and then on the back, it's my balls are full of pee.
Brian's history of violence.
Oh my god! All right, so let's get into this frickin' movie. I can't wait any longer. I have many notes to discuss, and again, I'm still waiting for Meg for your thanks. It's just, it feels like such a slap in the face.
I need to be very clear. This movie there were certain visual elements that I was like, I'm here for this. This is the visual element is what I'm here for. The story confused me so many times. I was like, wait, what's happening now? Wait, oh, a new thing is happening now. Okay. It's just, I feel like there were so many layers to this that I'm like, I can't fully keep up. But at the end, I'm like, okay, I got it enough.
You have to use 100% of your brain. So you know how humans only are supposed to use like 10% of their brains? You have to open your third eye. You have to use 100% of your brain. And
Brian, I didn't have shrooms on me. I couldn't fucking open the third eye.
The first time I watched this, I was wildly stoned and did not follow any of it, but just enjoyed the visuals. And then the next time I watched it was, I think, the exact same thing. And then the third time I watched it, which was for this, I actually watched it and paid attention and took the notes. And I was like, this is the story is as bonkers as the visual elements of it. I would put this on par with something like, Hausu or something like that. That is just absolute, just shitty bonkers. So let's first, I'll just kind of summarize it a little bit first of all. So Koichi Hun is the director. This guy spent pretty much his whole career working for Shaw Brothers Studios in Hong Kong. So this is kind of a famous Hong Kong movie studio that made primarily like kung fu films and like Shaolin monk films and samurai films and all type of stuff like that, and then some goofy outsider type of stuff as well. But they were in operation they from like 1925 to like 1980 something, and then they went dormant. Then they tried to open back up, and I don't think much happened there. But in about 60 years of like real active production, they made well over 1,000 films in 60 years, cranking them out. And some of them are most, kind of like celebrated films or well-known films specifically in the kung fu genre. But this one is a little different than that. So this follows a gentleman named Chan Hung, and this is the kind of synopsis I pulled off of IMDb. While in Thailand to avenge his brother who was crippled in a fight with a corrupt Thai boxer, a man gets caught up in a web of fate, Buddhism, and black magic, which is actually a very good synopsis because that's about as good as you can do for this movie.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't really get much deeper than that. It gets infinitely deeper and also simultaneously not any more than that too. Yeah. It's like an amoeba or something. It's like a simple singular celled organism, but the deeper you get into it, you start to understand that just the well keeps going and we haven't caught up yet. You understand what I mean? So it's a single cell organism, but then the atomic structure is impossible,
infinitely complex.
Yeah, and
I
then
really
you get
appreciate
to the subatomic.
I really appreciate how you guys are both trying to use very scientific things to explain this thing. And you're just getting just as let's talk about science right now to explain this movie. It's very simple, guys, but I hope you guys understand amoebas and atomic stuff.
The vibrations that this movie gives off speak to your brain on a different level than you comprehend. That's all I'm saying. Wow. It starts off right off the bat. And stop me, because I'm going to get on a roll here. So just stop me when we have something to discuss. But there's so much happening. It starts off with a kickboxing competition, right? Yes. And one of the guys you'll recognize right away.
Yeah,
which
Bolo
is
Young.
What's that?
Bolo Young.
Yes, he is from a tons of different. This man wakes up in the morning, and the first thing he does when he gets out of bed is fight Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, like anybody you can imagine. He is that guy so he's most known for Bloodsport, right?
He's maybe, but you would also recognize him in Enter the Dragon because he's the dude that he plays Bolo essentially, and he fucking crushes that dude with his arms, right in front of Bruce Lee.
Yes, that as far as Bruce Lee. See, for me, growing up religiously watching Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, that's where I immediately recognized him from. But yes, Enter the Dragon. He is a very recognizable, and I believe he is actually Thai, right?
I think so.
In terms of nationality. I believe he was like a bodybuilder / like Muay Thai fighter, if I recall. I didn't look it up, but dude is just a fucking unit. Like, he's just humongous.
I was gonna say, watching this fight in the beginning, I don't know if you guys ever caught that like TikTok video where it was like that one dude who crushed an egg between his arms, like made different, and then all these very tiny people, like very small girls, were like cracking the egg on their arm. That's kind of what it made me want to do. I'm like, yeah, I'm just made different.
This guy could smash a watermelon between his giant pec tits. Like, he just has humongous pec muscles.
Prove it.
Yeah, he looks like a cartoon character a little bit. He's just fucking humongous. He's just a big damn thick boy. So he is fighting another, at this moment, kind of unnamed person. They have a pretty epic exchange where they're beating the shit out of him. And then eventually the other not giant jacked guy gets kind of the upper hand and just mangles the dude's face, like so much so that it looks like that character from SNL, Massive Head Wound Harry. You remember that? Yeah, that like the dogs eat. Like it was like flesh hanging from his forehead.
These fights, there's two of them in the film, but these fights are so spitty and bloody. Because like they do these slow motion close up takes of like everybody getting hit in the face, and you can tell they just have a mouthful of water right before they get hit, and that just spit it out, and it's like it makes Rocky look deserty. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It has definitely got a lot of like Rocky, especially like Rocky 4 type of elements. You know, where it just goes on and on of them just exchanging blows right to the chin and just taking it and going and going and going. But yes, they definitely were trying to replicate that type of effect, but which this movie's from 1983, so that's after the first Rocky movie, right?
Yeah, it's after the first two, I think. But then,
I couldn't remember how quickly the second one came out.
Yeah, so they're definitely replicating all that.
Yeah,
but then it's so over the top. It's so spitty and like,
oh yeah, they have full mouthfuls of water that they just spray. They're like Triple H-ing it.
Right.
They're just like spraying the water everywhere.
They're probably comparing budgets here, and they're just like, okay, they only spent $5,000 on all the liquid for the fights. We're gonna spend $10,000. But I did want to make a point, because there was like one move that the Babo like did twice, where he like would grab the leg when someone kicked him and then lift them up and then punch them as they're going down. I was like, dang, I'm gonna take note. That's fucking sick. Fucking move.
Dude, Muay Thai is gnarly. If you've never watched like Muay Thai kickboxing, it's absolutely sick. I mean, that was a replication of a real move they do to each other. Like, these dudes can like chop down trees with leg kicks. Like, that's how hard they can kick. It's terrifying.
I don't know why I haven't gone more into kung fu, but I feel like I need to, because I do enjoy fights. Like, I do enjoy fight scenes. Like, they're so fucking great. But anyway,
Muay Thai, yes, kung fu movies in general, but even just like watching actual professional Muay Thai fights are wild.
Yes, agreed.
People like shattering their shin bones and shit.
We're gonna have to get Meg to watch The Protector then.
Oh,
that movie's so fucking
all right,
rules.
I have nothing going on tonight. It's going on my list.
I bet it's on Tubi.
Okay, it's called The Protector.
No, probably is. Yeah, I haven't never looked, but it seems very likely that it'll be on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so speaking of Triple H, actually, he then goes hog wild on him. Dirtiest, just Ric Flair, Triple H, something. He just cripples him. Comes up behind him after he wins the fight and just cheap shots him in a pretty brutal way, but not enough that you would expect to put someone in traction and paralyze them. I mean, I understand you can get paralyzed, in a fluke thing.
Yeah.
But like, it was like every bone in his body was broken by this.
I think we need to make it a little more clear. So the Thai fighter, who is Bolo, Bolo gets the upper hand, but then he gets beat by the Hong Kong fighter, and he gets knocked out in his corner. And so it's after that Bolo has lost the fight, because this comes into play later in the film.
Yes.
He paralyzes the Hong Kong fighter from behind after Bolo has lost the fight. And I think that's just important because of the following scenes where he's being celebrated for being the best in the world, except for he's like a dirty, cheap fighter, and like they're having a celebration in Thailand for him of like, he's the champion, he's the winner, and it's like, he paralyzes people when he loses.
What we didn't see is that he actually started the committee to set up that event for himself.
Oh, okay.
It did feel like that a little bit, didn't it? But it's like if you've seen, what's the Russell Crowe movie where he plays like the underdog boxer against like Max Baer, who is like a real boxer. Like it's based on a real. It's a fictionalized.
But I know what you're talking about.
It's called I don't know. But anyway, there was the guy who paralyzes people in the ring that is like a bad guy that they're scared of. He actually does it fair and square. He just punches real hard. This guy, no, waits till you've won, comes up behind you and paralyzes you. So like Steve says, you then later on they have a award ceremony to give him like you're the best dude award after he paralyzed this guy, which we'll get into in a second. But
I think the clinical term for what he did was called a tantrum. I think that's clinically what it's called.
He wigged out on him, But anyway, so now you have the main character, which I'll just refer to as Chan for the rest of the time. Even though his name changes a couple times due to certain circumstances. Anyway, he goes to meet his uncle. Now, this part, I still don't understand exactly how this ties into the rest of the movie necessarily.
Just quickly, because it's important, is
Yeah.
the guy who's paralyzed in the ring is the brother of Chan, and Chan jumps in the ring and gets into it with Bolo.
Right. Yes. Sorry, I forgot to mention that's a huge part of it. Yeah. So the guy who is the main protagonist in this story is the brother of the person who gets paralyzed, which you kind of know, but you don't necessarily know the whole story yet. But he does jump in the ring and there's a big melee and all this stuff. Then cut to some like mob shit happening. And Chan is being set up for the most obvious trap in the world, but falls for it for some reason, where he goes to see his uncle, and his uncle basically says like, this gang is coming into town. They want to see you. They say, show up alone. And he's like, all right, I'll show up alone. But he does tell his buddies, like, if anything happens, come in and shoot everybody. Yeah. But, like, you're already dead, so what the fuck? Anyway, he goes into this like, warehouse. Mob showdown happens. But instead, before that, they drop a bag down from the ceiling that's just full of his uncle's body parts that have been all cut up and stuffed into a bag. So I don't. Yeah, the message they're sending here is unclear.
Uncle bag.
They drop the old uncle bag routine from the rafters, and then they start basically like giving him like this water torture thing where they're hanging him upside down, dunking his head in a bucket. And right before they go to kill him, luckily this fucking like ancient ghost deity, Buddhist deity, spirit guy shows up and fucking saves him. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. And you never see anything about that element ever again, except for the fact that I guess you're meant to assume that they are tied to the Thai kickboxer in some capacity because he is involved with mob stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
It doesn't really become relevant anymore.
I don't know. I feel like the first 3 scenes are just kind of setting up like the character themselves and just kind of giving a portrait of who he is. Because he's
bad. He's a bad guy, tough guy.
Yeah, he's a bad tough guy. Yeah. He's getting into fights. He's doing crime, and then in the next scene we find out he loves pussy.
Yes, he sure does. In a very uncomfortable sex scene, which we're now cut to.
Yeah.
It's a real
I
yes.
literally didn't know if it was a rape scene or I was like taking a note and I was like, is this a rape or is that actually a good
you come
sex
to
scene
realize it's not, but the first time you watch it, you're just definitely like, this is a real no means yes scenario happening here.
Yeah.
But then you can quickly tell that's kind of listen, I'm not trying to shame anybody. They're obviously, consenting adults. You do what you want, but it is pretty uncomfortable. They're obviously playing a sort of game where it's meant to seem like maybe she's not consenting.
Okay, role playing, maybe. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, role playing is the word I will use.
Okay.
But I guess my point is when you first watch it, you're like, wait, what's happening now?
Yeah.
But then you come to realize they are dating or have some sort of long-standing sexual relationship. It's not just like it's a random person that walked into his house or anything like that. But in any case, it is pretty uncomfortable. But you know what? We get boobies on the glass. So.
That was my only other comment about it, because I was like, the way they set that up, I'm like, someone thought this was a great idea.
Yeah.
I like the way, like, no, push your tits against it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, then just do one. No, then back it up. Do it again.
I really was hoping that Val Venus would have walked up behind her and been like, hello, ladies. Remember when he did that with Steph McMahon? That was sick. Any case, yeah, so then this ghost kind of summons him from his bed with this like weird symbol, and you don't really know what it is, but then you learn later that's a symbol on this like Buddhist temple that he's been kind of summoned to. Now you get it like really spelled out for you that his brother was the one that was paralyzed during the fight. He goes to see him, like he's in traction, and he asks him for revenge against the Thai boxer, who I think was Babo. That's what they were calling Mr. Babo. Yeah. Which I just couldn't. It's just a funny name to me. Mr. Babo.
Mr. Babo, the Thai boxer.
Yeah, Mr. Babo's the one who paralyzed his brother, so he's going to go avenge him. So he shows up to the aforementioned greatest dude in the world ceremony to celebrate the life and times of Mr. Babo. And Chan shows up in a straight up white denim jacket and slaps a fucking belt out of his hands. Which is such a boss ass move.
The one thing Chan never loses throughout the film is his boss ass fashion.
Oh, he didn't give a fuck. Yeah, he's a bad dude with rad-tude. He just shows up in a white denim jacket. But just remember, he
at one point did not care anymore. You know, he made a point. He's like, I'm a changed man. I'm a monk now, right? Anyway, we're getting ahead. But anyway.
Yes, eventually he goes from bad dude with a rad-tude to a monk to then back to a bad dude. Anyway, I did get I would love to know what the actual translation was, because if you watch this, the translation, because there's obviously subtitles, but then there's also times where there is voiceovers and other times there's not. Mm-hmm. And then there's other times in the YouTube version I watched where the subtitles go out as well. So you actually don't get subtitles for periods of it, but you can clearly tell what's happening. Like, you don't really need them during those scenes. But
I think a lot of the subtitles that get skipped are like just Thai prayers and Buddhist prayers. So it's not, it's not anything you're totally
secret
missing.
Stuff, Brian.
Yeah, secret prayers you can't know.
I do like, though, and that's why I would love to know what the actual translation of is between Chan and Mr. Babo, where they are calling each other Hong Kong boy and Thai boy back and forth, because of course one of them's from Hong Kong, one of them's from Thailand. But I really would love to know what the translations are, because I imagine it's a lot more slanderous in real life what those words are. In any case, so he sees the symbol on a Buddhist temple as he's like on his way to Thailand to confront Mr. Babo. He sees this symbol in this Buddhist temple, and he has the boatman who is kind of on this like water taxi situation, takes him to him, and you've learned that these monks have summoned him in this way. So I love this scene where it was like the one monk, he's like, why am I here? And he's like, we've been expecting you, blah, blah, blah. This whole like hero's journey thing. And at one point, the like head monk goes, this is a long story, but here it is.
But here we go anyway.
He like explains a very long story. But essentially what had happened, and correct me if I miss it, because it is a little difficult to follow at times, but the monks collectively, they're Buddhist monks, obviously fighting for like good, apparently, against evil. They go after this black magic sorcerer guy who seems to be a kind of lower tier black magic sorcerer type of guy.
Maigusu.
They turn him into a dang melt man, and then an old woman, and then a bat. So it kind of, the bat, when it first comes out, like, of his body, it's almost like it's his soul or something coming out of him in bat form.
I have a very clear point to make at this moment with this scene, that this is the second time where you're giving us movies where something's coming out of something else's mouth and like causing so much destruction.
Yes.
Just making a point. I'm just making a point. I'm seeing a theme, Brian.
It's a bit of an oral fixation. Yes. I mean, that much is clear. I mean, I'm an open book.
But in contrast to Uninvited, though, the bat that the bat is far cuter than the mouth of the old witch that it's coming out of.
The old crone that it comes
Very
out
true,
of.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So listen, I'm switching it up in that way.
Yeah.
But when he first comes out, the original like little puppet thing that starts coming out of his mouth actually kind of looks like Daniel Tiger from Mr. Rogers'
little bit,
Neighborhood.
right?
It does. Yeah.
It's adorable, and it's like
Good
upsettingly
Pittsburgh
adorable.
reference here.
Yeah. And it's like coming out of it like the guy's throat, and then like I said, it's kind of like it's almost like his soul coming out, that they turned his soul into a bat kind of thing. I don't know.
I think so.
Anyway,
so my interpretation of this was because you meet other black magicians later, and they seem to all have a representative animal. So I think like this bat is like almost like a scout or a drone. A way for the black magician to send himself out into the world.
Yeah, they are the Wicked Witch's little monkeys in a way.
Yeah. So
what is the thing that Harry Potter has? It's like one of those things. What are their little like sidekick character, like
Owls?
little animals?
Familiars?
Each one has a different something like that.
Yeah.
I forget what its name. That was a bad reference. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'm an adult. I don't watch Harry Potter movies.
Never
you,
seen either. I know about the owls who deliver the mail, and that's it. Because I think it was in a commercial once.
Someone who's listening to this is very upset with both of you, and also upset with me for not
Smeagol?
remembering.
Are you talking about Smeagol?
No, they are like a familiar, but it's like their little sidekick. I'm gonna look it up.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never sat and watched an entire Harry Potter movie. That's not true. I actually got free tickets to see The Prisoner of Azkaban, and I did go to that. But I do not know anything else about Harry Potter.
I had a creative writing teacher who, instead of teaching, read us the entire book for a week.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's like the guy when I took guitar lessons, and he wouldn't teach me anything that wasn't Bon Jovi, and I really makes you lose interest in guitar when I was in like high school.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, what's his name? What are these?
All I can find is familiars, but someone else will correct if it's wrong. But I'm seeing familiars. I'm pretty sure.
All your Potterheads out there, hit us up. Tell us what the fuck you're talking about, and then go read an adult book, you bitches. I'm just kidding, guys.
You know what? I'm gonna be here to soothe you guys and say I will watch Harry Potter with you. Okay?
You know what? This is coming from the guy who watches like Hocus Pocus 40 times a year. So
how many times have you watched Encanto now, bro?
Well, that's because I have children. So the children watch the children's movies at my house. Although that is also not true because I watch Pee-wee's Playhouse on a regular basis. In any case. So then we get this sweet ass devil room, which is awesome. And there's like this super dramatic, kind of highly stylized set with like these really intense contrasts. It's kind of awesome.
I liked it a lot. That was like one of my notes. Is like I loved with the figure they had there. I loved like the color escape that they did for it. I think it was really cool.
It's a very it almost reminded you of like a bunch of set pieces for like an Alice Cooper show or like
Well,
King
you know,
Diamond
it's something
or
funny
or something, but it's not a giant toilet. It's like just a demon. But.
Well, one of my other notes specifically was for this black magic or magician guy was that he had Dio vibes, and then or like Macho Man, like Dio or Macho Man, like he like.
So he definitely gets into Ultimate Warrior here. In Hot
yeah. Oh
yeah,
Ultimate Warrior. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was like, that was one of my first thoughts. Was like, man, if they started like playing a Dio song here, I would have not been surprised.
Yeah, the set is just metal as fuck, and it rolls a ton. This is pretty much like a reoccurring theme in this movie that I identified is that it fucking rules. Everything about it just fucking rules. So he does this whole cool like ritual thing where he drives a stake into the bat and melts it, and then wakes up an even more powerful guy, kind of, and he's like this demon. I mean, he's like this demon sorcerer guy with this crazy, scary kabuki mask type of thing on, and then he kind of becomes the main antagonist of the film. Mm-hmm. After that, even more so than Mr. Bobo, which you actually at one point kind of forget that whole even part of the story existed. Because he just goes and fights a bunch of demons for a long time, pretty much the whole movie, and then he comes back and he's like, oh yeah, let's go get that fighting boxing rematch.
My other note for this scene in general, and I think I might be backing up just like slightly, not too far, but was when he was pulling the skull out of like whatever,
we're about to get to that.
Oh, we're not there yet? Okay, cool, then I'll hold off on a second then.
Yeah, he does this whole sweet like ritual thing where he like sucks rat's blood and then spits it on the bat skeleton and it revives it, and then it feels like it has this very like Evil Dead kind of feel to it. And then you get these long flashbacks and fight scenes, and again, they are long. So, like, you definitely lose track of the timeline you're in a little bit.
This movie is almost 2 hours long, dude. It's like, it is no surprise that someone could get lost in this.
I would say it is a quilt of various stories and timelines that are like just sewn together in random fashion.
Please do not bastardize my memory of quilting with my grandmother by saying this movie quilts something together.
It is a patchwork.
It is a patchwork
of scenes, if you will. But yeah, some of these flashbacks, like I said, are really long, and then you come back and you're like, oh yes, this is where we flashed back from. Kind of thing.
Yeah, this whole thing with the black magician, like, and the abbot of the Buddhist monk, they're flashing between the two as the black magician resurrects the bat skeleton, and then the bat skeleton resurrects in the Buddhist temple and is trying to escape.
Right.
It gets smashed with a hammer or a gong hammer.
Yeah, he goes fucking Gallagher, or you know what? Another Triple H reference. Really, he brings the sledgehammer out. But so then this is when so the monk crushes the bat skeleton with a hammer, and then the demon guy does a whole series of rituals, one of which is he has got, so I think this is after, no, the same time, because he plays a little tune and like summons these snakes. So the snakes come out of these like vases, kind of almost like we think of like a traditional like snake charmer type of scenario.
He has a warehouse shelf of urns full of gross stuff. He has
tons of them.
He has the ultimate Dr. Dreadful set is what he has.
He really does. Yeah. He's got the Dr. Dreadful drink lab. He's got the gummies. He's got everything. But yeah, he extracts some of the snake venom, and then he takes what I can only describe as he's making human head kimchi, I think, in those big.
I like that. I like that a lot, because that's pretty much what it was. Because that was my note. I was like, I really want to find someone who looks at me like that guy looks at this like deadhead. And I was like, and then you added kimchi to the scenario, Brian, and I'm like, I'm way even more.
Well, that's what it looks like. Those big crocs look like something you would like bury kimchi with. You
just
know what
wrong
I mean?
country,
Yeah.
It's fine.
But so he takes the head out of the thing, and it's like this rotten human skull out of his kind of like weird fermentation cellar, and then he puts the vent. He like peels the scalp back. There's a lot of gross out scenes in this movie as well. A lot of practical effects, a lot of gross out scenes. Obviously, a lot of practical effects. Well, I mean, 83. I mean, there was definitely some decent early computer animated stuff out at this time.
It's a lot of rotoscope animation that comes into play. For doing,
they do a lot, especially with the text thing and all that.
What does that mean? Can you explain that to me? Because I don't understand that.
So rotoscope is when you just would literally paint over the frames of the film. So like it's like doing hand animation, but you have to paint over top of it yourself. You can still do some rotoscope effects digitally, but it's very different.
Yeah, they do. You get into this, and the effects in this movie, like not everything's perfect, but they're so bold in their decisions, which is what I love so much about this. So like I said, he peels the skull back, like peels the scalp back, cracks in the skull, pours the venom into the brain, and then stirs it up in this really gross, like it's almost like he's got the fruit on the bottom yogurt, but it's a brain, and he's like mixing it all in. And then this is what my note was. This is demonic mixology at its finest because he's doing all these elements. It's like he's making a tiki drink or something. But he uses it to mutate these super sweet little puppet spiders with these that have these cute little straws, which you learn are these needles that deliver this cursed poison, and they're sucking up the cursed poison.
Those aren't the needles though. The needles come out the butt. So they just have sweet straws. He just gives little straws to the chunky spiders. That's all.
I'm just now really, really wanting a horror themed tiki bar around me right now. Oh my god. I'll take the sweet straws.
I guess you're right because the stingers almost came out of their butt like it was a stinger on a wasp or something like that. Whereas these were just little straws they were just using to drink up this cute blue goo.
They're just little chunky spiders with straws. They're having a good
All
time.
I wish right now was that we had if when the needles went into the people's eyes, that it was just Naomi doing her move where she throws her butt up and they just automatically come up and go into their eyes. That's exactly what I'm imagining. I wish that would happen.
Yeah, there's just this just feels like a video game to me. This whole movie in so many ways. But so then the big bad sorcerer sneaks into the Buddhist temple through the front door, so not really that sneaky. But
he does the Eric Andre of he shakes the gate and he's like, let me in, and then he just jumps over the side.
Then he just jumps over it, and then he acts like he's being real sneaky, but he walks through the front door, despite the fact that he can climb on the wall like a spider, which we learn here in a second, and he climbs up above the one kind of Buddhist monk, and then he drops the rubber spiders down on the monk, and
they're the worst spiders I've ever seen in my entire life.
They're not great. They do look like just rubber spiders.
Yep.
Which makes it all the more charming. But then they do, basically stick their little stingers in his eyes and deliver the poison, the cursed poison, which we learn about here in a sec. So that monk, we learn, was about to die and ascend to immortality. He was on the verge of ascending to another plane of immortality, but this demonic attack fucked that up a bit, I guess. And but here's where I got confused, because he did apparently, which we learned from the head monk, the abbot of the monastery later, that he had also prophesized that Chan would come and lift that curse. So it's a real Sleeping Beauty type situation. But why, if he knew that was going to happen, so why? I don't know what Buddhists believe in terms of fate or your control of your fate and that timeline, but it was almost he was going to ascend to immortality, but is this a final thing that he has to undergo before immortality? Because if he knew that was going to happen, why would he either not prevent it or you know what I mean? I don't know. Also, it was a little confusing.
Yeah, also, it's when did he prophesize it? Did he prophesize it after he got spider stabbed in the eye?
That's how I took it, because they were he died a few days, because they did go as far as to say he didn't die immediately.
Right. So I think it's I'm not going to make it there yet. Let me think. Oh, okay, maybe this guy will come save me.
Well, that's what I took it as, and it's a bit of a leap, but I was taking it as after he got bum rushed by the sorcerer and got the magic cursed venom in his eyes, he was oh, I need to now summon this guy to come save me and himself, because you will realize here in a sec, which we will learn, that Chan and he were twins in another life. So his life is connected to his, and when his corpse decays, Chan will die.
I don't think that's how
they don't
twins
understand.
work.
Yeah, same. That's the exact same thought I had. Was they don't understand how twins
Not
work.
even identical twins.
But I was gonna note just it's mildly related to, but Buddhism has a lot of notes in Stoicism, and I think what would make sense in my mind when I understood that, especially when you guys are talking about it, I'm well, all this stuff means there's a lot of stuff out of our control, and you only control what you can. So the only thing they could control at that point was him, either summoning him or him eventually coming in and being able to try to fix it. They couldn't prevent this thing from happening.
So it's not he knew what was going to happen. Not he was all-knowing. It's just that this was what I understand.
Yeah. It's like you control what you can, so.
Either way, Chan, not stoked about the whole thing at all.
Nope.
Not happy about the whole thing.
Kind of an anti-hero almost, like, in a way, because you're like, you don't really love him at first in ways.
No, he's kind of an a-hole, and he but then he becomes all pious, but then he loses faith or whatever. And anyway, we'll get to what the message is of this movie, because it is unclear. But
I think you somehow have come to some conclusion, so I'm looking forward to this.
I have, and we'll get to it. So the monks, basically what happens is they put him in an urn, his corpse in an urn, and obviously that's who the ghost that kind of summoned him, that he was seeing in visions, when he got delivered the uncle bag and all that by the mobsters. The person who kind of saved him was the ghost of this monk. I also wrote down this monk, kind of a dang hunk, kind of a monk hunk. I'm not gonna lie, he's kind of. I mean, when you think of monks, you don't think of hunks, but hey, you know what? I'm here for it. So then they
just imagine you going on a monk dating app, I mean, I might do that.
A monastic, it's monastic dating app.
It's a little bit more progressive, It's kind of Jewish people can now.
It's like farmers only, but just for Shaolin monks and Buddhist monks. What are you into? Just Tai Chi and pray. That's it. Those are my kinks.
Sitting in silence.
Yeah.
Do you like not talking? Me too.
You would think that's what eHarmony was about.
Wasn't that? Or Plenty of Fish. That's pretty much Plenty of Fish, right? So they smash this urn, and then the mummified corpse of the monk who was poisoned, who has summoned Chan, is just kind of chilling in there, and then he just comes to life and talks to him, and he's a damn rubber mummified corpse sitting in this almost meditation posture, and then he reveals that they are twins in a past life, and that's why he has to help him, because his life depends on it too. So I guess that makes sense if I really think about it. Whenever he was poisoned and then couldn't ascend to immortality, he called on the only person he had a spiritual connection to, which was his twin from a former life.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense a little bit.
It is quid pro quo, because it's if Chan helps the abbot, then the abbot gets to ascend to immortality, and Chan just actually gets to live. So
he gets to not die. Yeah. So he explains that he's been able to stay kind of alive or not decomposed, I guess, in order to keep his twin alive. And
this really feeds into your kimchi reference, because I mean, pickling definitely elongates the life of,
preservative element,
definitely a preservative
acid,
thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do like that, though, his explanation of why he was able to do this. He was like, I was able to stay alive, but I'm decomposing in order to keep you alive because of Buddhism. He literally says at one point, because of how I do Buddhism. He says it, I forget, a very clunky sentence. I liked it. Obviously, that was just the way it was translated, but... yeah, Chan basically says, eat shit, bro, and bails.
Right, goes back to Hong Kong and says, no thanks.
He's not into it. Yeah. And then we get one of these things where there is a little bit of voiceover here, oddly enough, when he's making hotel reservations. I'm not sure why. But he does wake up with tummy troubles and pukes up a laughing eel, and now he's a monk, I guess. So, the
Here's
eel,
your sign,
was it
bro.
Just me, or was the eel
He was just kind of mean. He he definitely was trying to even go after him, I feel a little bit. He was like, fuck you. Yeah. If he said fuck you and then went down the toilet, I would not been surprised.
Yeah. It felt like a Beetlejuice scene there for a second or something, but yeah. But then now we get to Chan's what I can only describe as a Buddhist monk bar mitzvah. I'm not really sure how else to describe what's happening.
It's the most truncated training ever. They're just
it's very much a training montage that's happening to turn Chan into a badass Buddhist monk warrior of some sort, spiritual warrior, but it seems like it takes about 3 or 4 days from what we can expect. There is a scene where he has to meditate in the swamp while leeches are eating his ass.
Yeah. Honestly, like that kind of grossed me out so much because I think it's like a big fear of mine to ever
leeches?
Get like leeches. Yeah, like they are such a big fear.
So I explained to my kids what leeches are. Okay. Because we were talking about like ticks because we have wood spines, so we always have to have like, you know, my kids have each had this years ago, but have had ticks on the floor. Our dog gets ticks on her all the time, so no matter what medication we do, we just live by the woods. There's always a lot of ticks, so we talk about, so they know what ticks are, and then we, you know, so we got on the topic of parasites and we started talking about leeches, and they were really grossed out by the idea of leeches. And I told them it's like, it's not that big of a deal. Most leeches are really small that live around here. It's not like we have these big Amazon leeches, but I have told them, like, when I used to go like trout fishing when I was younger, especially if I didn't have waders on and I was just barefoot, a lot of times you'd come out of the creek with leeches between your toes, and they just come off. You can just scratch them off, or even so, you just burn them with a cigarette. They just come right off.
Oh my God.
But they were not interested in that story.
Yeah, I'm with your girls. I'm not interested. Oh God. Never dealt with
they
it.
were like, do they drink all your blood? Like because I told them they live off your blood. They're like eating your blood, and they were like all of it. I'm like, no, very small amount. Like it just looks like you have a little paper cut after you scratch it off. But great leech scene, classic leech scene. But the coolest part by far for me was this kind of trippy scene where they do some of that rotoscope stuff in the scene where it's like this actual. Like there's these like I guess I would describe it as this actual text that's written on the inside of one of those giant urns that he's like sitting and meditating in, like fused to his body via these like energy ropes that are coming from all the other like monks, and then into the giant urn, and then the urn like explodes, and it's like that's the like he is ready scene, you know what I mean? Like he has ascended, he's ready to rock. But it was just a very fucking trippy, wild scene. I remember the first time I watched it when I was super stoned, being like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like it was kind of rad. Now, Chan has like ascended to like full on spiritual warrior status here. So the demon sorcerer shows up.
Well, hold on before we get to the boss fight, which is essentially what it is. But
100%.
There is one other part of his training that's important to the story, in that they kind of give him ceremonial rites with, like, it looks like a giant menorah, but it's not. I don't know what the name for it is.
It does.
But
yes, it does look like a giant menorah.
They ask him like 3 or 4 specific questions about like,
yes.
You know, have you done drugs or alcohol? No. And then they check the menorah to see if he's telling the truth. It's a odd polygraph. And then they ask him, it's like, have you been abstinent? You know, have you not had sex? And he says no. And they're like, okay. And then they confirm him. And then I think that scene is followed by the jar scene. So
yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's like the it reminded me of the Simpsons scene where Homer is like, they're like, this is a polygraph. We're going to ask you the questions, and then it's going to read your heartbeat, and it's going to read your vitals, and it's going to tell us if you're lying or not based on what answers that we give you, or that you give us. And he's like, okay. And they're like, do you understand? He goes, yes. And it explodes. The machine explodes. This reminds me a little bit of that. But instead, later on, it calls him out. But at this point, he is telling the truth.
It does matter because they did set it up. So
yes, yes, good call. So now the demonic sorcerer shows up, and Meg, this is where he shows up in full Ultimate Warrior makeup, face paint, and he's just ready to fucking rage. And he summons all his demon bats that live inside crocodile skulls. And he sicks them on Chan, but Chan's got a dang force field that acts as basically like a bug zapper for demon bats. Yeah. Like they all come at him, and he puts up his force field and just zaps them all, and they all set on fire.
And again, all the bats are pretty adorable in a way. So then you just have a bunch of adorable on fire bats, and it's like, I don't know who's the good guy here at the moment.
This reminds me of a personal anecdote, which I'm not celebrating, but did happen in real life. Which I was at a party. It was actually a homebrew / bluegrass festival Me and my cousin and a handful of people were up very late at night, hammer drunk, and the bonfire fuel that we were given was a giant, like one of those big disposable, like cardboard crates that you put like just junk in and stuff like that. But it was a bunch of scrap wood from a cabinet shop. And they were just going to throw it away, so they donated it so we could use it as firewood. At the end of the night, we were almost out of firewood, so we flipped the whole box with all the little tiny bits of wood and scraps on top of the fire just to obviously burn it and get rid of it. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden we see a bunch of flaming mice run out of the fire because we didn't realize there were mice in the bottom of the box. Because why would you think that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would you ever think that? And all of a sudden there's just flaming mice running around. We're running around trying to stomp on them and put them out.
What the fuck?
Well, what do? You just let them burn?
No. I mean, I don't know, but like, I mean, you're probably killing them by stomping on them.
Yes, exactly. We're putting them out of their misery. They're on fire.
You don't want to suffer.
I'm just so sad. I'm just fucking sad. Okay, I'm sad for the whole situation now.
It was
I'm
unfortunate.
inconsolable.
Imagine being very drunk and stoned, and all of a sudden a bunch of flaming mice ran out of fire. It was terrifying.
And then you have to stomp them.
And
That's
then we're
a
like,
terrible game.
then you have to stomp them. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
awful.
You can't let them burn to death. That's even worse. In any case, back to the film. Meg is
I need to get tissue just because like I'm gonna start crying or something. Like, I'm just joking. It's fine. I'll be fine.
How many mice have you ran over with your car? How many mice has your dog brought you dead as a trophy for you?
No, I mean I've had a cat bring me mice. No, he's never brought me actually an animal. He's never caught an animal in his life. Like ever. He's never.
But that's what he's bred to do, though.
Right. Yeah. So yes. No, he's not doing his job. It's fine. Keep reminding me how I'm a bad mom. It's fine.
Your dog doesn't do the one thing it's put on this earth to do. Great job. Anyway, well, that's all right. My dog doesn't do a lot of herding sheep either. So, So where are we at here? So
bats are dead.
Yes.
Gator skulls attack.
Yeah. Bats are dead.
Goblin mode.
We have a theme going on too, guys. We have a theme going here with these crocodiles.
Yes.
This is our third episode with crocodiles.
Yes, and there's a lot more with crocodiles, but in this instance, he uses what I can only describe as evil rice to reanimate croc skulls that then get to chomping like, many hungry hippos. And he puts like Buddha statues in their mouth is basically how he defeats them.
Defeats them like a cartoon. It sticks.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but instead of putting a stick in their mouth, like like in Hook or something like that, he puts Buddha statues in their mouth.
Pretty much.
I love this. It might be my favorite scene in the whole movie. After he defeats the crocodile skulls, the demon just flips him off and hits him with a dang pot. He just throws it at him. He just goes, "Fuck you," gives him the finger and throws a pot, and just like all the supernatural animals couldn't hurt him, but just throwing a pot fucks him up. And then he flips him off for some reason. It's awesome. It was kind of like the arm throw in Suburban Sasquatch.
A little bit.
Honestly. Yeah. So then the bad guy, the demon guy, he eats a bunch of guts and then pukes them out and then eats it again, which again is a theme in this movie.
Oh god.
And then that makes him more powerful?
More powerful? And then he goes goblin mode?
There's a lot of baby birding in this movie. So much baby birding.
There are. That's a good way of putting
it.
So now he summons what I described as a squealing, floating, fire-eating yogurt demon made of a head and a flappy spine. That is what my note says.
I thought it was kind of a cute little alien guy, though.
It was sick. I fucking love this part. It's such a cool creature. Again, and I even wrote in my notes, again, this fucking rules. And then Chan makes the demon explode with telekinesis, I guess. And then, so then the bad guy covers his whole... Again, this is going to get so much more insane. The bad guy then kind of covers his body with marshmallow fluff and turns his own head into a floating demonic jellyfish with knitting needles. And then wraps up Chan's head in his, jellyfish tentacles while all still wearing Ultimate Warrior face paint.
Yeah.
I think you should genuinely just preface the description of this. In watching and listening to our episode alone, you should be high in some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Do it both.
Yeah, do it both. Yeah. if you were like, listen, oh, why did you tell me this? It's going to ruin it. No. This is not doing it justice. This is not explaining it really in any real way.
You got to be able to be on a different plane to like create the images that are coming in, and they're not going to match what actually happens.
You have to drink the tears of a magic iron mushroom, which we will get to here shortly.
That you have given honey to.
Of course, because it's attracted to the honey. What don't you understand?
I felt so much simpatico with that situation. Yeah, sorry guys.
So now the sun comes up and then the demon guy just goes all Ark of the Covenant and just basically fucking melts. His face melts and the curse is broken apparently. And then it is so like weirdly anticlimactic.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's so anticlimactic because the head just turns into a skull and falls over, and then a statue falls over.
Well, and it's also like the music drops out too, doesn't it?
Yeah, everything just stops. And it just stops in like not in an explodey way or even like a really like sound designed way either. It just falls in and just clacks. It just boop. Fights
can
over.
either you guys describe to me that like effect with that melting face? Because I feel like we've seen it in the past, and it almost reminds me of like a claymation or like literally like wax melting.
It's probably wax.
It's like the Ark of the Covenant. And they do it with a heat gun, right? So they build something out of wax and then hit it with a heat gun and slowly melt it, and then they speed up the film.
Okay, got it.
But
thanks, guys, for my lessons today.
Yeah, no, that. I mean, yeah, that would be the one in the Indiana Jones one in the. Oh my God! Why can't I
Raiders
think of
of the Lost
Indiana
Ark.
Jones and the Raid of Lost Ark? Yeah, I could not think. All I could think of was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is definitely not that one. But anyway, so after all that, like I said, very anticlimactic, but it definitely has these like manga beats to it, where it's like the false victory, and then everything falls apart again, and then you have to fight even harder boss that is somehow more powerful. Like it just had these very kind of anime themes to it in that way. But anyway, so you're like, oh, curse is broken, everything's great, full frontal nudity. Like, right. Back to his I don't want to even say significant other. Up to this point, it just feels like they've been casually fucking, but then
because she didn't really actually care where he was. She's like, "You've been gone a long time." I don't think it's definitely cash.
She's like, "How many people? How many girls did you fuck in Thailand?" Like she literally says that.
Yeah.
But I think that was like, I don't know, because then later she's like ringside with him, like it's freaking Adrian and Rocky. You know what I mean? So
and plus, I mean, I assume that that's his apartment that she's been living in casually while he's gone.
Could be.
Because he just comes home.
In.
Yeah. He comes home.
I didn't think about that.
And then she's like, oh, you've been fucking. And he's like, oh, no, I haven't. It's time to burst nerds.
So here's the thing.
Why do you just say things like that? Burst nerds.
I'm trying to burst nerds up in her.
Oh, you know what though? The best thing is nothing gets me more in the mood than when my significant other goes, "Don't give me any STDs. Let me check your genitals for signs of STDs."
I just was waiting for her to bust into that song, "Let Me Smell Your Dick." You smell your dick.
Yeah, she seemed like very concerned, but not concerned enough, if that's what she believed was happening. Anyway, she's taking just a shower in like a bathtub style shower that should have a curtain around it, but she's just open, so I imagine her floor is soaking wet. I don't know why that bothered me. But then he pops in there, but he keeps his little gutchies on.
Right.
Is that what they're called, gutchies, or is this like a Butler County thing?
They looked like these. It was like a Speedo he was wearing.
Yeah,
and
he's like definitely a Western PA calling your tidy whiteies gutchies.
Yeah. Well, we called like like the things you wear. Like I remember people always called like those little things you wear underneath like a woman playing tennis or like a cheerleaders. Like cheerleaders wear those little like shorts. Oh, yeah, we just called them gutchies. I don't know why.
My grandparents just called all underwear gutchies.
We did too. Yeah, mine did too. Yeah, underwear were just gutchies. But yeah, anyway.
I'm not opposed to this. I'm just like laughing because I've never heard this before.
Yeah. Anyway, so the spirit of the dead bad guy is now like his buddies are starting to resurrect him, and so they like turn his body into what I can only describe as like a tamale.
See, now that is not what I'm getting. Yeah,
I'm confused about this.
Okay, so what I have is that Maigusu, the guy who's just defeated, he's done.
Yes.
And then you have his three brothers who also have representations. They have centipede, spider, and reptile. And this is something you saw earlier in the film in the Dio set. Mm-hmm. In the Dio set, there's these hands that are holding up different animals.
Oh, and yes. I did not make that connection.
So I think it's all of their lair. But it just happened to be like Maigusu was hanging out there that day when his bat got killed.
Well,
but
so that makes sense up to this point, but later something happens that makes that not make as much sense to me.
Well,
which is to say, anyway, we'll get to it.
You can explain it when we get there, yeah. But,
yeah.
But what happens is they essentially give him the Darth Vader send-off. They just burn his body and send him away. I think what you're talking about, what happens next at the Gator Farm,
yes,
is they just pull out. I think they pull out. This isn't explained very well, but I think it's just like another witch.
Okay, because it is a female, obviously,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I always thought that they put his like soul into a female body. But
See, I don't know if that's no, because they
No.
more or less put themselves into her body.
They do.
Is that what it was? Because I was like, what was that mummified thing? Did I miss like how they put that together? That's what I think you're referring to. Yeah.
No, that what you're saying makes more sense than what I was thinking, which was I thought that they resurrected him and that they were like giving their life essence to resurrect him because he was the most powerful one. But no, you're probably right.
They're just allowing him to live a prophecy of always wanting to be a woman with big tits.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. They were. So I was very confused by this whole thing, but I had a theory, but my theory is falling apart. But I will be discovering it along with the listeners then, I think, as we go, because I was off track here. So now you go right to a bunch of crocodiles. Like Steve said, they're at a crocodile farm. So you see a bunch of crocs just fucking and eating pretty much for the next several minutes. Literally, you do see crocodiles fucking. Yeah. I don't know why.
I feel like this movie was somewhat funded by the crocodile farm because it's just super extended for no reason at all, and like there's not much of a soundtrack even. Like there's no music. It feels like crocodile footage just accidentally fell into this movie.
Yeah, 100%. It just feels like it's like weird filler, weird like stock footage of crocodiles.
Yeah,
these guys, the brothers, like you were saying, of the main kind of demon guy that he was already defeated, they kill one of these giant crocs and then pull out all of its guts and like smash its eggs on the ground, the whole thing. And I
got really sad there too. This like movie kind of upset me, I think, in ways.
It's upsetting. It's you pull the guts out of a crocodile.
I guess we don't know that those crocodiles or the little baby ones didn't die because they did like a couple of them squirmed off, so they might be okay. I don't think that's how it works, but that's fine.
Well, I do think they were fake.
Do you?
So that's fine, right? In any case,
Meg, these guys had to film their mukbang video. They don't have time.
Yeah. So anyway, like they put a. So here's my question then: who is the body? Then just another random witch that they sewed up inside the crocodile?
That's what I'm not clear on. Is it a more powerful witch, or did they just choose a female body because they're trying to trick him into getting a Percy?
Maybe. But yeah, it's a very Midsummer type of situation. They hollow out the crocodile essentially and then put another body inside, which I thought was him in just like weird tamale form. But I don't know. It makes more sense that it wasn't.
Yeah, because since they burnt him, because it also seems like they have a number of bodies stored under that house, and they just pulled one up.
Maybe they just needed well, that's what I took it as. They just had like a vessel that was this woman's body, and then they put his soul into the woman's body.
Right, because otherwise he would have seen him coming. Like, those guys look exactly like the magician. I already just whooped his ass.
Yeah, it's like a Trojan horse situation, but with a big-ass crocodile.
Right.
But anyway, so now you cut back to Mr. Bobo and Chan about to kickbox, and then you're like, oh yeah, there was a kickboxing element to this. So it's like that. Right, that story that you set up. And his bro is there still, like in a wheelchair, and also, like I said, his casual girlfriend is also there apparently. But meanwhile, they're kind of cutting back and forth, like interstitially between the kickboxing match and the dudes doing the whole ritual. So they've taken the kind of tamale person out of the belly of the croc, and it's like all covered in all this insect larva, so they like rinse it off.
Well, yeah, I think, Brian, I think there might be more legs to yours based on this one review that I had been looking at. It's like on Asian movie Pulse, so I know Pulse is kind of a big deal, but it's like specifically for Asian movies. But they said like this celebrated the reincarnation sequence wherein the dead wizard is brought back to life by servants. So it kind of sounds like maybe there might be more legs too, that it could have been him. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I like, it's obviously not explained very well at all. I think there's probably plenty of people who are going to think both things, like where it could have been a random corpse or it could have been reincarnation and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
That's fine, because it's also like that we're talking about like what isn't subtitled. And like that whole prayer sequence is one of those times where it's not subtitled. So you just
there's no subtitle.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. That is just where you are pretty much guessing what's happening at this point. But they do cut back to the fight, which is not going well for Chan. He's getting his ass whooped. And then they cut back to the ritual, and they're all like just eating as fast as they can, just scarfing down a bunch of like maggot covered meat and durian fruit and bananas. Bananas. And then they're just spitting it out and then handing it to the next one, and they're doing like a willing human centipede almost situation, except for it's not coming out the other end. And it's just fucking gross. The whole thing is just fucking gross.
Baby bird bucket brigade.
It really is. It's pretty gnarly. And then they feed what they've all chewed up to the corpse, like I said, which is a woman now, and they dress her up with a fully nude woman. They dress her up with these big spiky nails, and then she comes back to life. Yeah, and they just kind of sick her on Chan, right? So she sticks needles in the eyes of this voodoo doll type of thing. That's meant to obviously replicate Chan, and like he simultaneously goes blind in the ring while he's fighting Mr. Bobo. And then Mr. Bobo just whips his ass a bunch for a while in this kind of like Rocky type situation. He won't stay down, like his, corner's trying to throw in the towel. His brother in the wheelchair is like, no, throw in the towel, whatever. And he's like refusing to give up. And then Chan just straight up jump kicks his ass out of the ring through the fucking Spanish announce table. And I just like, when I first watched it, I remember to myself, super high, was like, by God, so help me God, he's broken in half. I just went straight JR when that happened. Because he does, it's like off the Hell in the Cell situation, slams through the table, and then of course he wins, right? So Chan has come from being blind and getting his ass whooped for an hour to just jump kicking his ass out of the ring. So then worms come out of his eyes in the dressing room, but it's like obviously some sort of vision or hallucination of sorts, I think, because it didn't really happen. But I don't really know the significance of that necessarily, besides it was like some sort of omen kind of thing. Because he obviously didn't know what was happening in the ring, why he like went blind. But Chan goes back to the Buddhist temple, and the main dude says basically, everything you did is undone. Sorry, on account of the bad guys, and they got more power now, so sorry. Like, it was just very poorly explained. And again, it was like that classic anime trope, like, you killed them, you're a hero, never mind, they're more powerful now, fuck you gotta do it again. Like, it just reminds you of like the end of like Ghosts and Goblins, where they're just like, nope, never mind, now beat the whole game over again. It's all because basically he was fucking in Hong Kong. Like that's basically what it comes down to. Like Steve said, like he lied when he did his training, but why didn't the menorah, I'm going to call it for lack of a better term, tell them that he was lying?
It did.
It did.
But it was like after the fact.
It was after the fact. Yeah. Like,
but
why
they don't think they put the test on him until then at that point.
Oh, maybe that time when he told them that he had kept up on his tenants or whatever, but he hadn't. They didn't know at that moment.
Right.
But was that because the candle wasn't lit then, maybe, or something?
The candle goes out because it's super dramatic because like they go through the questions again, and then when they get to the one of like, did you maintain abstinence, there's a huge music sting and his eyes pop open and he's like, oh no, I burst nerds. So
I know, but I'm saying, like, why when he first did it, when he was taking his training, right, he was telling the truth, right?
Well, because he was in training during that time. Yeah. Right. So I think you're supposed to assume that once he went through the ritual. Yeah. So like once he went through the ritual, then that's when you start maintaining Buddhist tenets. But the thing is, he cut Buddhist tenets in the middle. He was supposed to maintain it for life, essentially, I think.
Right.
But then, I see.
When he went back to Hong Kong, he had sex with his lady, so he broke one. So then he comes back, and they redo the test simply because he hadn't been in their presence.
Yeah. You know. So the things that he did were essentially undone retroactively because he betrayed his tenants or whatever.
Right.
I gotcha. So he lies to the main monk, obviously, and then they call him out because of the candle situation, catches him. So they go on this big like spirit journey kind of thing where they go to all these different like holy sites and pray, and then they eventually go to like a big like Buddha statue, which is like buried. It's just like the face, and they go down in one of the eyes or the mouth or something like that. And they smear honey on this like iron mushroom.
So sexual. Just got very sexual real fast.
It really did. And then the pure iron mushroom's tears will make Chan invincible for the final fight with the demon lady, which is a sentence I have never written before and probably will never write again. But they discover they discovered that he lied. So he says, never mind, like, fuck Buddha, fuck all you guys, and just like rages. And he goes to the original monk's like corpse, which is still like decaying, I guess. And he just like smacks him around, and it's like a rubber thing. Just like slapping this rubber corpse. It's really funny.
He again, what we clinically call had a tantrum.
He did.
I do think there's a missed opportunity for him to actually, while he's in Thailand, just like go fuck a bunch of bitches because he's like, fuck you guys.
He could have just leaned in harder.
Yeah.
But so the corpse monk that he was originally trying to save his like immortal soul lasers him and says, you're fucked, basically. Like, you're fucked, I'm fucked, it's your fault because you burst nerds.
You burst nerds.
You burst nerds, so you're fucked.
Never
I'm
not
fucked.
going to laugh at that.
But then I like this. This is again another anime trope where it's like, oh, you're fucked, I'm fucked, we've lost, it's insurmountable. Wait. Unless you can get my golden llama ashes from the monastery in Kathmandu, which is like this tourist attraction. So there's this whole weird long, again, this is like a scene where you get lost. You forget what is actually happening in the story because of this super long scene where basically like Chan's walking around this Buddhist monastery in Kathmandu, which is Kathmandu the same as Nepal, or it's in Nepal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, he's there, so he's traveled there, and he's overhearing a tour guide explain to a tour group the legend, and he's like getting all his information from the tour guide.
This is decidedly like an Ocean's 11 or National Treasure scene where
it
like
really
he's getting all the lowdown on everything.
He's about to partake in a spiritual heist of sorts,
right?
And he's getting all the information. So I guess you could assume that he may have already known this, and then we're just getting it from the tour guide. But in my mind, I was like, you're putting a lot of credence in this tour guide's explanation of all this shit.
See, no, he doesn't. No, I think he's learning it as he goes as well, because
that's kind of his face looks like that's what's happening.
Yeah, because also the big point is, so the llama's ashes only appear at a specific point during sunrise, and because the sun shines on a special way on the Buddha statue, and it like
reflects off the eyes of the Buddha, and then it reflects onto the palm of the statue,
and it reveals them. So Chan goes back to this monastery at night to steal the ashes, and he's like, why the fuck would I wait till sunrise? And then he finds out why you wait till sunrise.
right. But that's saying he was listening in on that. Presumably, but he was like, "Nah, fuck you, bro. You don't know what you're talking about."
Right.
I don't know.
He was learning, but he didn't really learn. He's like, "Nah, fuck that. I'd do it at night."
I'll do it. I can do it. All these people here in the morning. But yeah, it was a very strange series of events here, but which is not too much of a departure from the whole rest of the movie. But he basically, explains this whole like kind of Temple of Doom task that he has to do to retrieve them. Oh, by the way, llama, I should say, not llama like that spits, like the animal llama. We're talking about like the Dalai Lama style llama, which at first I did not make that assumption. And I was like, there's a llama? And then eventually then we went to the thing. I was like, the Dalai Lama, the llama, third son of the llama.
That's funny as fuck.
Chan shows up. Before he goes, Chan saws his damn arm straight up the arm too, not across the tracks, like up the arm.
I'm pretty sure that's what death is.
I'm pretty sure you die from that. Luckily he doesn't have any blood in that arm, because none comes out, and then he puts the iron mushroom tears into his arm and stitches it back up to make himself immortal, I guess,
as the Terminator would.
Yeah, it really does. It's such a weird scene. Like there's no blood that comes out. But as he walks in, I really love this. The statues all like turn and watch him. They're like rubber suits type people in the suits, but they're all the statues. And when he breaks in to get the golden ashes, and I don't know if it showed it on the version you guys watched, but the translation of what the one like ancient statue said was "intruder alert."
That's what I got.
Okay. Like, wait, is this Robbie the robot, or is this fucking an ancient Buddhist fucking statue?
But also, like, the voice is really annoying. So it's like intruder alert.
It really was just like robotic. It was so strange. And then they shoot like bioluminescent arrows at him, and he defeats the statues. But again, he goes to it. There's no ashes.
He completely turtles one of the statues too. Like it comes at him with a big ass sword, and he just leg sweeps it. Like it's the only time he employs his Thai kickboxing elsewhere.
Yeah.
And he leg sweeps this thing, and it's like on the ground kicking.
He's like, it's like a turtle when it's trying to shell. It's like, he just knocks it over. They're like golems, if you will, kind of situation, but they're surprisingly easy to defeat. At least you think so, but then they come back and kind of like save the day at the end. Anyway, he defeats them, but there again, he goes up, there's no ashes. Then all of a sudden the naked demon woman, who has like long Freddy Krueger arms now for a second. And all in her big long nails, she shows up and just gives Chan a sick ass titty twister. Which was, I was like, what is happening? She doesn't like punch him or scratch his face. She scratches his chest, but you don't know what's happening until after she pulls away. It just looks like she's giving him a titty twister. So she brought the big old crocodile with her that apparently has the guy sewed up in it, and it like chases Chan around in this very what was the freaking movie we watched with the crocodile that chases the people in the cellar or whatever? Didn't we watch that?
We didn't watch Crawl.
We didn't watch Crawl?
No.
Anyway, it reminded me of Crawl though. Where it's like chasing him around, except for it's just a bigger rubber crocodile instead of a CGI one. But the nude woman squeezes his head in her thighs and then pisses furry caterpillars on his chest. I'm not sure.
Yeah, these things. This is out of control.
And then they crawl in his nose and ears.
Yeah. This is where I started to derive what the real meaning of this film was. Because now it started to make a whole lot of sense. And the whole film is about man's struggle with women and foreigners.
Oh my God.
Foreigners.
It's relatable to a lot of people, I suppose.
Yeah. It's a real alt-right.
Yeah. This is a real trad cath film, despite being about Buddhism.
Despite being a 1983 Hong Kong.
Right.
Brian's coming in strong. Yeah, no, it's about Buddhism and stuff. And we're like, no, there's like subtext, so there might be
it's problematic subtext.
Yeah, it's pretty trad cath because it's like, how does he lose his Superman powers? He has sex with a woman. What challenges him in the end? Women.
Well, you know what though? If it really was that, and it had this like alt-right, like incel vibe to it, it probably would have been like the women like dominating his life, and him being constantly put upon by like foreigners and women and minorities and stuff. So
is he
didn't
not
go that direction?
Is he not?
What's that?
Is he not constantly being put upon by them?
I guess.
I wouldn't say he's being put upon. I definitely think there's like the undertones of like his life is being ruined because he couldn't not have sex with a woman.
You can still keep liking this. He still has fun puppets. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, he's put upon by this whole Thai monastery of like, you gotta save yourselves and save your life and save everybody.
Well, and he even says like, I didn't want to have anything to do with this, you assholes. Like, you're the fucking people that. Yeah, you're right. He does kind of say that. But in any case, once again, the sun saves him because it's a fucking vampire flick now. But the sun comes up at that very moment, and then the eyes of Buddha manifest, the golden ashes in the statue's palm. Lightning strikes, and then this part, again, do not understand. Maybe you can explain. There are lasers that come out of the statue and act as basically like one of those things that help old people go up the stairs in a chair. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But it pulls down this guy from the statue. He's this old guy with a beard. Who the fuck is that guy?
So that guy is the original, because we have the abbot that's in the monastery of Thailand. And he says he sends Chan to this monastery in Nepal to get his ashes from a former life.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you look at his super real beard,
exactly. It's like a mall Santa beard, but worse.
I think you can tell it's also the abbot the hunky abbot that we're already used to.
Oh, it's the same guy, just old now?
Yeah, it's the same guy. It's just him representing his past life.
Oh, it's him in the past life. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I was going to say, like, it acted like it was him.
Right.
But it didn't look like him.
Yeah.
He had a big white beard and stuff, but it's him in his previous life.
Yeah, it's Hunky Abbott as he was a llama.
When he was llama before he got turned into Golden Llama Ashes.
Right.
Which is an album name that I am TMing right now. Golden Llama Ashes. Okay, so that makes more and more sense. So now, like I said, they are transporting him in the little stairs thing, and down from the altar of Buddha, if you will. And then he goes full Raiden on the naked demon woman and electrocutes her ass, and then like rings some bells, and she becomes this like skinless kind of like Uncle Frank type creature.
He rips her skin off because
he rips it off.
Yeah.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, she takes her hair and wraps it around his head, and I remember that. He grabs her by the chest and basically says "Begone, thought," and rips off like all of her skin and sends her to the ground.
Why did I miss that? Maybe that was when my kids came running upstairs and was like, "What the fuck?"
Turn up.
I think he's holding the bells in one hand.
Yeah.
And then her skin in the other hand, and he's like shaking the bells and her skin as like,
I remember the bells. Okay. I'm gonna have to rewatch because I don't remember this. I do remember when he somehow rips her skin off, but I don't remember the actual action for whatever reason.
Usually
because by this point in the movie, I'm so high I can't do thoughts good. So I am like balls deep in some like Reese's peanut butter puffs by this point.
My brains are bad. I'm melted into the couch. I can't figure out what the hell's happening.
I'm already freaking out over the size of the grapes in the fridge. Like I'm having a whole fucking issue. Anyway, yeah, okay. So he rips her skin off, and then she like shits out a bunch of blue paint, which I assume is like the venom kind of thing, which is kind of like what the spiders were drinking in their cute little straws earlier. And then she melts back into larva, and then out of the womb of this like of her body comes these like embryonic sacs kind of thing that have three evil sorcerer who I didn't realize they were his brothers, but they're like the sorcerer's like servant guys who basically manifested the whole ritual, and they like rip out of their embryonic little sacs, and two of them like kill themselves and bleed into the other one's open chest that he's just like harikari'd himself.
Right.
And they like bleed into him to give him all of the power, I guess. Is that accurate representation of what happens? I feel like it is.
The three mummified black magicians come out of her womb, grow at an instantaneous rate. One stabs his guts open, the other two cut their wrists, and then fucking little monsters come out of that.
Okay, good. This enemy gets wild here. If it hasn't already completely batshit.
I don't know, like when the words were coming out of your mouth, did that make you feel really uncomfortable too? Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like excited and horny. Is that wrong? I don't know, but so these little fuzzy-headed like cyclops dinosaurs. Is there a better way to describe that? Fuzzy-headed cyclops dinosaurs, but small, like the size of a cat.
Yeah, it's weird because they give up three human forms for three cat-sized like cyclops dinosaurs, like you're saying,
with fuzzy, like the eyes are fuzzy.
The eyes are fuzzy. They're like they're almost like pipette cleaners, like how fuzzy they are. Yeah.
They seem like something that would like live in the fridge at Pee-wee's Playhouse. You know, he opens the fridge and there's like a little stop motion scene that happens there with like food, and then like the little dinosaurs are in there and all that stuff.
They were not threatening at all. I don't know why they chose
not
that
even remotely.
Why they chose that form
for the like penultimate form.
Yeah.
You know, like fully evolved form is little tiny cat-sized dinosaurs with their heads are just one big furry eyeball.
Yeah.
I totally expected like little tongues to come out of their eyeball, like when I first saw it. You know?
Or they were going to ascend into something else. I don't. Again, by this point, your jaw has been on the floor for a while. So they shoot shit out of their eyes, and it fucks up the other monk who's ascended or whatever, and the Buddhist statue, but then he rings the bell again, and then the statues shoot lasers and kill the little creatures.
It throws bombs at them, like they're little like, I don't even know what to describe them as, because they have like little whisk ends on both ends, and it throws.
Oh yeah. They're like little projectiles
of
some sort.
Little bombs at them and blows them up like instantaneously. Like they're again another anticlimactic end.
No big deal. Yeah. All this transformation and wild shit, and then it's like, haha, fuck you.
Yeah,
pow.
Yeah. It's all this
just blows them up.
It's all this crazy shit, and then they're just like, hey, you lose.
Yeah, and then I mean, we're almost at the end here. Believe it or not, the needles that are used to kind of like administer the poison come out of Chan's eyes now, like are like disarmed almost. And then the original monk, who obviously he set out to save his immortal soul in the first place, comes to life in the form of like a golden statue. And then all the other monks come in and start praying to him. And so he's like the new Buddha now, I guess. I don't know. And then Chan just goes, all right, I've had enough of this shit, and bails.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
out.
then the credits roll.
He's so fucking out after it. Like, it is the funniest thing because he is so upset walking out of that temple. He's like,
He's just like, seriously, guys, that was some bullshit.
Yeah.
And he bails.
and again,
He didn't even get a thank you. He didn't even get a thank you.
And that's how you know, like, he's put upon by all of this because he didn't stay to be a monk. Like, you see him, he's dressed in his fashionable whites, and he gets up. He gets up and he says, "Fuck this, fuck you guys. I've had enough of this
I'm
black
going to get
magic
drunk.
shit."
I'm going to get drunk and burst nerds.
Yeah, very Cartman-esque.
No, but it like so that's what halfway through the movie you're like, oh, this is going to be this like weird morality tale. That's what you kind of think. But then it ends up being the opposite, and it's like, no, fuck all this nonsense. This is this like, so I took it as like, oh, all this stuff, all this good versus evil, getting wrapped up in all these little religious battles and quarrels and all this stuff is like a fool's errand.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I took it.
I mean, it's like a fool's errand, but it's like he had to do it if he wanted to live. So he's just like, he's just annoyed the entire time. Like, he never had a choice besides like when the monk summoned him to the temple in the first place. I guess he could have just avoided it. Mm-hmm.
But you got to assume he felt some sort of debt of gratitude because the damn ghost saved his life when he was getting waterboarded or whatever.
Yep.
I guess he's gonna just like. It's so confusing because there's nothing afterwards, and it's just like, well, is he just gonna live his life that way? And like the next black magician to show up, like he'll come back. Like he's like the Batman of Buddhist monks. He'll show up when trouble is there, but other than that, leave him the fuck alone. Don't bother him. I think
he was just like, I'm gonna go get some wings.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go get drunk, get some wings, just rub one out and sleep for 3 days. That's my move. That's the move right now.
I think you're so fucking right.
So 10 out of 10, right?
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Great movie.
I will watch this movie. I've watched it 3 times. I only watched it this past year for the first time, or even it might have been early this year. I've watched it 3 times. I will watch it probably 100 more times in my life. I love this movie. It's fucking bonkers. This is another one where if you're just like, somebody says, give me something batshit, I'm trying to just do bong rips and watch a movie and fall asleep, I will give them this one every time. And they will be satisfied. They will be happy.
Yeah, I would love to see if there's like a better translation out there. If like somebody like,
me too. Yeah.
Like Vinegar Syndrome maybe has like a DVD or Blu-ray release that has like a good translation, just because like I do think you miss a lot, and it's kind of like it is confusing at times. I'm sure it's still confusing even if you knew all of the words.
Yeah, this does feel very much like a Vinegar Syndrome flick. I should look and see, because I know did we ever do Demon Wind?
No,
I was going to say, I don't know if we talked about Demon Wind, because I definitely picked up the Vinegar Syndrome release of Demon Wind, and I feel like they do some things to make it make more sense. I feel like sometimes, so this does feel like this type of movie. Not that movie doesn't make sense, but it just makes it a little bit more cohesive. But instead of watching some like wacky cut on YouTube or something like that. But oh boy, what a journey. I think I'm going to go watch it again right after this is over.
I have no doubt that you're going to do that.
I mean, there are so many great practical effects in this film, and that's what you're really watching for, is just all the fun practical effects that are so crazy, and there's so much color to the film. Like, just shit you do not see that often anymore. Because even that scene where they're putting the honey on the mushroom, it is such a simple, small effect, but you almost never see simple, small effects like that anymore, because it's so easily done in computer that production companies don't waste the time doing simple, small stuff or giant, big stuff practically anymore.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that scene alone, like that set piece for that one, like what ended up being a fairly inconsequential scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that whole set piece. I mean, I know in some instances, a lot of instances, they just went and obviously got permission to shoot at these like Buddhist monasteries and stuff like that. But that scene with that, like, you know, it looked like some sort of big giant like monolith type of thing that was like in the ground. Like, unless that was already an act, like that was a scene that was a set piece that already existed that they borrowed, you know.
Which that wouldn't surprise me.
That?
Yeah.
It's probably was. There's no way they built that whole thing just for that little tiny ass scene. And then the spiders look like they were from Spirit Halloween. Right. You know what I mean? So, but it just, they really took good advantage of it. But all I'm saying is, listen, that was a gem. And I could have picked 964 Pinocchio, which I considered, but did not. So just be happy, because when I do eventually pick a movie at that caliber, Meg, and I'm talking specifically to you.
What? Who?
You are going to be like, fuck, I should have enjoyed Boxer's Omen when I could have.
You know what I'm going to do in advance?
Yeah.
Just out of spite, is I'm going to go watch that movie. Until you
ruin
fuck
it for
yourself.
me.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin your
Brian
joy.
Off the pass.
See,
There's
hear that,
nothing you
Steve?
can do that
Don't
I'm not
tell me what
willing
movies you're gonna like torture me with.
I never
I'm gonna
knew.
Fuck your day up.
I
know you don't.
Meg pulls the old. There's nothing you can do to me that I can't do to myself.
I told you a movie to go watch, The Protector. Well, go watch that one.
I told you.
That movie rules.
I am, but you're saying
You know
it
what? I am.
rules.
Fuck you. I am.
And it is on Tubi.
Fuck you. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna do that tonight. Well, you know how it goes.
You're gonna drink a bunch of Robitussin and watch that tonight.
Guys, I'm off the tuss. Okay.
We see on the news tomorrow morning, like Meg's got like a hostage situation on the top of a bank somewhere because she drank too much Robitussin and watched that movie.
Or she went to the zoo to get her elephant back and beat the shit out of a whole bunch of dudes. Spoilers for the plot of that film.
Oh no. Well, I mean, I did watch Pig already, so I mean, it sounds.
I haven't watched it yet. It's been on my to-watch list for a while, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on it.
I love Nicolas Cage so much.
I do, so that's why I'm going to watch it. Everyone keeps saying it's not what you expect. It's not what you expect. It's not what you expect. And I was like, okay, but what is it? I have no fucking idea. I just know he's like a chef.
I think people are saying like, don't expect a revenge film, like the way Mandy is, but for pigs.
Yeah.
So I think it's something different. I haven't seen it myself either, but I think that's what people are trying to warn against. Like, don't expect like an action revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing too, is like there's so much Nick Cage to watch right now. Like, you know, I think last time I went to watch it, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna watch Prisoner in Ghostland.
Yeah.
You know, because I had only saw like half of that, so I was like, oh, I watch that, or like, oh, I'm gonna watch Vampire's Kiss for the 40th time. If I want my Nick Cage fix.
And then the new one's coming
I end up going in.
The Unbearable Weight might be this week.
Yeah, Unbearable Weight of Enormous...
Massive talent.
Not enormous. Yeah, that one looks pretty wild as well. But in any case, we will get to, I'm sure, I mean, Nick Cage flicks are on the wheel. So we'll get there eventually, I'm sure. But... for those of you who are tuning in later, weren't paying attention earlier, God damn you, here is our topics for what will be our May showdown. So in the next couple of days, you got a day or two to go follow us on the social medias, specifically on Instagram and Twitter, but we also are on TikTok and on Facebook, but we usually put the polls up on Instagram and Twitter because it's the easiest place to do it. And the topics that are up for grabs for May are Friday the 13th flicks, Nickelodeon Halloween, or trauma films. So 3 just treats here for you in May. So go ahead and go over there and give us a little votey vote and decide which one we're going to do. We will announce it on the next episode, and then the episode after that, we will pick the movies, and the episode after that, we will discuss the movies. So you will know what those are ahead of time. So if you want to watch them ahead of the Showdown episode, so you can argue along with us in your car or in your shower or in the basement that you're currently trapped in and only allowed to listen to podcasts, you can do that if you so desire. Once again, at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hallow Forever on Twitter, Halloween is Forever Podcast on Facebook, Halloween is Forever Pod on the TikToks, and the Halloween is Forever on Gmail. All right. Anything else?
No.
Check out them t-shirts on the TeePublics. We'll post something about it. That classic. I think it should be on the Pennsylvania state license plate, frankly, if I got to vote on it. My balls are full of piss.
just in the Keystone logo.
It just says my balls are full of piss. Check it out on the TeePublic store. Shoot us a note, as always, if you got any more suggestions for minisodes or showdown topics for us as well, because we are always open for suggestions. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.